for Swan Audio Oddity.
Jenna shared a dorm on a college campus with Sarah. She has only lived in the dorm for 2 weeks. At night, she keeps waking up feeling the bed sheets being tugged. It's in her head, she thinks, probably from moving around so much in her sleep. Sometimes Jenna would wake up to find Sarah sitting in bed staring in her direction, all wide-eyed. When asked, "Is there something wrong?" Sarah says no. She just had a bad dream. Jenna would forcefully try to make herself sleep, but the looks on Sarah's face would give her chills. She wrote it off as Sarah is being weird. Jenna sometimes would come into the dorm room to find the lamps turned on, shoes and clothes tossed about. Jenna would also keep getting strange feelings like someone was in the room with her for brief moments when she was there alone. The feeling of a presence of someone standing a few inches to her, watching her every move. She would turn and see nothing. She hated it. She didn't believe in supernatural things, and she didn't watch scary stuff. So she didn't know why she was feeling haunted. She spoke to Sarah about the incidents. Sarah giggled and told her maybe it's her imagination. Sarah told her not to worry about it. It's probably some kind of psych thing. Sometimes people get overacting imaginations and confused what's real and what's not. Sarah told Jenna maybe it's stress from moving away from home and adapting to the school. Sarah said the only stress she has is breaking up with her boyfriend she knew since high school. Jenna laughed in a sigh of relief, feeling a little better. A couple of days went by and she stopped having those issues. No more paranormal activity. She would come into the dorm and not find her clothes or shoes tossed out. Everything was back to normal. Jenna woke up in the middle of the night. Something felt off. She went to raise her head but couldn't. The bad area near her left foot sunk in, as though someone has knelt into the bed or sat. Then the bed sank in next to the right side of her near her rib cage, like someone is climbing over her. She was too afraid to look, so she shut her eyes tightly. The pillow she rested her head on, the left side near her ear, sank in. She tried to speak but couldn't. And then the bed all of a sudden lit up, as though the weight of the person had vanished. Jenna wasn't a Christian and never been to church, but she was praying to the man upstairs. Jenna opened her eyes to the sight of a dark figure leaning down over her. She couldn't see the face or who it was. She could only make out that someone or something was there with her. She was frozen in fear. Her hands sank into the bed. She could barely move her fingers. She knew this was happening. She could feel the bedclothes on her fingertips. She couldn't move. When she tried to move her legs were stiff and had no feeling. She tried to call out for help, but the words would not leave her mouth. Her heart raced in her chest as the thing faced her. Its head jolted to the side a bit in a quick, unhuman-like way. Jenna could barely look away. She forced her eyes sight to look at Sarah's bed. She figured Sarah probably could help her. When looking at Sarah, she cringed in fear and felt her heart sink. Sarah was covered in her own blood. She lay there with her eyes wide open, blankly staring at the ceiling. Jenna's eyes teared up, and she struggled even more, but her body wouldn't budge. The shadow person slowly inched closer and closer to her face, not saying a word, not even breathing. As the moonlight touched the stranger's face from the dark, Jenna saw a possessed-looking man with black eyes. His face had no emotion, just a deadpan, emotionless face. Pale skin, dark curly hair that poured out from a dark blue hoodie. His lips slowly curved into a side smirk. Just as his hands touched her neck, she felt the coldness in them. It nearly was an out-of-body experience. She closed her eyes and let out a scream, but when she did, no sound came from her mouth. Her eyes full of tears as she whimpered. She then blacked out. The sound of birds chirps as the sun rises. The dorm room becomes lit with morning sunshine. Jenna sits up in bed quickly. She noticed she soiled herself and that she is alone in the room. She jumps out of bed, hitting the floor hard, making her escape. She notices that Sarah isn't in bed. Nothing of Sarah's is in the room. Jenna grabs the doorknob and yanks the door wide open, rushing out into the hallway. She is trembling badly. She runs into another girl who drops her books. Jenna tries to gather herself and get help. Some of the other students come out their rooms. A few of them start to laugh. Jenna doesn't understand why. She then notices that they can see the urine stain in her pajamas. She covers up the best she can. She turns to head back to the room but stops herself, feeling the horror that may happen again. "Hey you," the girl says to Jenna. The girl is Ying. Ying is a student who she met on her first day. Ying takes her hand and offers her help. She guides Jenna back to the dorm room. Ying tells Jenna she is sorry. If she had known she was taking that dorm, she would have warned her. Jenna cries. "Warn me about what?" she asked. Ying explains to Jenna that the dorm room she stays in is haunted. A girl by the name of Sarah had her life taken away from her by a jealous boyfriend who didn't want her to break up with him. He stalked her for weeks, ran away anyone who showed interest in Sarah, and one night he snuck into her dorm room from a cracked window and did the deed. The police found him in the bedroom under one of the beds. He took his own life. Jenna places one hand on her chest, trying to catch her breath. Ying points at her neck and says, "Hey, how did you get that?" Jenna feels a sore tingling feeling on her neck. Bruising on Jenna's neck in the shape of handprint is seen in Ying's view. She stares in horror.